Hello, Commanders fans. Today we have some exclusive news that you can't miss. So get ready because there's a lot of important information coming. Before we get started, we'd like to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay up to date with all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which really strengthens our community and helps bring this content to those who are most passionate about the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Commanders Insider promotes shocking trade chip for possible Myles Garrett trade. Myles Garrett is looking for a trade, and the Commanders should ask. Trade speculation levels remain high between the Washington Commanders and Myles Garrett. One team insider believes there is a surprising trade chip that could help close this hypothetical deal. Garrett surprised the sports world by officially submitting a trade request. The All-Pro defensive end has reached his breaking point with the Cleveland Browns' continued underperformance. With quarterback Deshaun Watson looking like one of the worst trades and guaranteed contracts agreed to in NFL history, the former number 1 overall pick took matters into his own hands. Washington was immediately linked to Garrett. The edge rusher praised the franchise and would not mind joining this ambitious project during his media appearances on Radio Row. Cleveland is not willing to entertain the notion, but they may be surprised with an offer they can't refuse. What that will be is anyone's guess. Commanders source names Brandon Coleman as potential Myles Garrett trade chip. The Athletic's Ben Standig believes it would take 2 first-round picks or a first-rounder, along with day 2 selections, to get the conversation started. The insider also thought offensive lineman Brandon Coleman could be a surprisingly expendable piece if the Commanders go that route. What players could you let go of that wouldn't be too dramatic? Brandon Coleman. If they invest in Myles Garrett, and they already invested in Marshawn Lattimore, they might at most have a spot for another chip, someone to try. I think Coleman is interesting. He's got good size, good strength, but talking to some people after the season, I heard a lot of maybe he'll drop to guard. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but generally, if you're talking about a guy who might end up having to play guard, I don't think that's someone you can't afford to move, and you might be a good fit to replace. Coleman was a 3rd-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. He took over left tackle duties, splitting them with Cornelius Lucas initially before getting a full-time job in the second half of the campaign. The former TCU star has fared relatively well, though there have been some obvious and expected growing pains during his transition. Many believe Coleman will adapt better to the interior over time. He will benefit greatly from his first-year experiences. But whether the Browns, who have concerns at blindside due to DeJuan Jones' injury issues, ask for the player to be part of any potential trade, it's something General Manager Adam Peters may consider. There's no way to say for sure right now. Nothing should be off the table, but the astronomical compensation attached makes it harder to mold a well-rounded roster for sustainable growth. At the same time, Garrett is one of the elite players in the league, regardless of position. Opportunities like this don't come up on the trade market very often. Peters may decide against it when all is said and done, but he has to try. Adding Garrett to the Commanders would change everything. If Peters has to include someone like Coleman or another player to sweeten the pot, it's a small price to pay. Fans are eagerly awaiting more news. Washington Commanders may sign Super Bowl star as free agent. Hey, Commanders fans. While the Washington Commanders won't be on the field in tonight's Super Bowl, the franchise could have a chance to strengthen its roster by bringing in one of the players who will be in action in the big game. Pro Football Focus Jonathan Macri has named the Commanders as an ideal destination for Philadelphia Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat, who will be the. Will Josh Sweat stay in the NFC East? While the Commanders have assembled a promising group of pass rushers for 2024 under new head coach Dan Quinn, the team still needs more consistency to pressure opposing quarterbacks. And that's exactly what Sweat can do. The defensive back has been one of the Eagles' standouts in recent years, especially in the pass rush. According to Macri, he led Philadelphia in quarterback pressure for 2 consecutive seasons, showing his ability to directly impact the game. Should Sweat land in Washington, he would form an explosive duo alongside Dorrance Armstrong, giving Quinn more tools to mold. Sweat represents a significant improvement over Dante Fowler, as he can play more snaps and still produce superior numbers, Macri said. That would certainly excite IDP managers and, of course, a 4th-round pick by Philadelphia in 2018, Sweat recorded 8 sacks last season and, if he signs with the Commanders, would have the potential to become the best pass rusher in the game. With the need to strengthen the defense and a new scheme under Dan Quinn, will the Commanders make a bold move to sign Sweat? New update from Kupp outlines Commanders' culture fit amid trade rumors. The Washington Commanders are in a strong position heading into the offseason. General Manager Adam Peters will stop at nothing to make the necessary improvements to make another bold Super Bowl run next time around. Nothing is off the table. The Commanders are flush with salary cap space and draft picks. They are deep in the game and an attractive destination. Expect Peters to make the most of that in the coming months. Peters could also explore trades if the right opportunities present themselves. Speculation continues to run rampant about the Commanders potentially making a bold move for Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett. Veteran wide receiver Kupp is another being linked after the Los Angeles Rams made the former Triple Crown winner available. Kupp's work ethic should fit well with Commanders' culture shift. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler said Kupp's exceptional work ethic and proven credentials would fit well with Washington's impressive culture shift under the new regime. The respected insider believes the Commanders could make a move, given the need to find a capable complementary piece to pair with Terry McLaurin. Executives anticipate Rams receiver Kupp will be a hot trade market because he's quarterback-friendly, makes contested catches, and is the kind of in-and-out worker who resonates with a new team. Questions about his age, 31. Declining production, lower body explosiveness, and injuries loom large. But he can still play. He caught 67 balls for 710 yards and 6 scores this season. He missed 5 games. The contract is an issue, however. Kupp is due $20 million in 2025, and all but $5 million of that is guaranteed in the form of a roster bonus. The Rams would likely be willing to eat some of that contract to facilitate a trade. The Commanders could be looking for a complementary receiver to Terry McLaurin. Jeremy Fowler. Kupp isn't getting any younger, but he still has some juice left in the tank. The pass catcher has struggled with some injury issues in recent years. That said, he knows how to create separation effortlessly and is an absolute threat on short to intermediate routes. That's exactly the type of receiver the Commanders should be looking for this offseason. They have a number 1 alpha in McLaurin. That won't be enough, especially considering Noah Brown, Dyami Brown, Jamison Crowder, and Olamide Zaccheaus are all entering free agency and may not return. That would be nothing more than a short-term option for the Commanders. That could be discouraging, depending on the compensation attached, but their window is open now. Peters should adapt accordingly, finding reinforcements to help immediately while keeping an eye on the future. Kupp is a win-win trade right now. Fowler's revelation about Los Angeles' potential willingness to eat some of his money helps, though that would likely come with a higher draft pick. What the Commanders need to figure out is whether the All-Pro can move the needle enough to get over the hump. Other opinions will be considered. Free agency should have weapons capable of improving the options at Jaden Daniels' disposal. The Commanders could also go the draft route, but improving commodities at the next level come with more risk. If the decision is to sacrifice a draft pick for Kupp, he's a good scheme fit and a tremendous pro. Whether or not that scenario becomes a reality remains to be seen.